Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Sunday sermon. This morning, we are going to be blessed by the presence of St. Thomas Aquinas. He will be bringing the message. Just let me take a moment and ask that all of you listening out there would tell somebody else about our show. We try very hard to bring you the holy messages. I think we have a very unique program. I'm sure that the messages you hear are from the heart, and they are especially from heaven. So anyway, St. Thomas is here. So let us begin. Each week, Barry brings you a message from one of us on the other side. Not just common spirits, but he brings you messages from the holiest of spirits. On Wednesdays, he even brings you a message from our Lord. Nothing could be holier than that. Yet he struggles getting people to listen to these messages. We try very hard to have all of you out there understand the simplicity of the messages of God. Nothing could be more simple than the golden rule. But each day, many of you find that you cannot follow that guidance. Each day you think that comfort, wealth, power, that is what you should be striving for. We, in fact, help bless people with wealth. We guide them. We have them make the right decisions. We introduce them to the right opportunities. And many people accumulate this great wealth. Many of these individuals have no idea that it is only through our blessing that it is possible to have the money, the power. Hopefully, each of these individuals use this great wealth to the advantage of others. Many do. There are some phenomenal people out there that try to use their great wealth to help others. There have been some of the wealthiest people ever that have essentially tried to give away all of the great wealth that they accumulated to charities, to educational institutions, to hospitals. These people, when they return, are greeted. They are rewarded. Just as they have been rewarded in life with wealth, they are rewarded when they return to heaven. They are rewarded by being able to advance in the realms. By doing that, they become closer to God. And by becoming closer to God, they find the most incredible happiness that a soul can ever have. But then there are those that abuse our blessings. They think that it is all themselves. Well, it's not. Without our blessings, they couldn't do it. You see, we guide them. And then all of a sudden they decide that they are the be all and the end all. And they stop asking for our guidance. So we stop too. If you're not using this great wealth, then there will be a point that we will stop advising you. And many of you will know true unhappiness at that point in your lives. things won't go the way you want them in spite of all this great wealth. You'll become obsessed with making more, doing more, having more power. It will never dawn on you that it is because we have ceased to guide you and we have ceased to bless you. Now, when you return, you'll find out that you made a great mistake. You'll be judged harshly, and you will have created a karma. You will create a karma to all of those that you did not help. And next time you return, you won't have great wealth. You will be trying to make up for the mistakes of your prior life instead of moving ahead. The common person is the most blessed. The common person that helps others. Now, they don't have much, but they're willing to share what little they have. If you're willing to share, to devote your time, to do as much as you can to help others, then you will know happiness. Now, human life is hard. It's not going to be a total cakewalk for you, but you will know what it is to have others come to you and thank you. That's when you feel the true happiness. In my time, there was incredible poverty, sickness. It was a terrible time, but I did my best to help others. I tried to tell everyone what I conceived of as the truth of the message of God. I made mistakes because I didn't have direct communication, but I did my best and I helped others. I guided. I established churches. I did as much as I could. How many people out there can say that you do as much as you can? Now, we're not talking about locking yourself up in monasteries and praying all the time. That's not really helping others. We're not talking about being in charge of a church. It does nothing but try to raise money and gives very little, a small percentage of it back to the parishioners to help them. You see, they are sinning as great as the individual that refuses to help others as well. God's message is always love. God's message is always caring. God's message is always doing what you can. There are individuals that in their life plan include great suffering and sickness. I'll give you an example, Stephen Hawking. He lived his life in a wheelchair, a brilliant mind. And he never let the disability stop him until the day he passed. He brought his great knowledge to others, and he spoke. He spoke to help others. You see, his sickness was a great inspiration. How many of you out there would be willing to choose a life of great sickness as a test to see if you would help others through that sickness? There are many that have chosen this path. I'll give you another one, Lou Gehrig. You've heard of ALS. They call it Lou Gehrig's disease. He was at the height of his abilities as a professional baseball player when he was struck down by this disease. He told everyone that he could not be more grateful for the life that he lived. and he knew it was going to be cut short. He continued to be an incredible inspiration until the day he passed. There are many others. Billy Graham had Parkinson's. You see, just because you are close to God does not mean that you will have a physical test to prove that you can continue to be an inspiration to God. Many of you are great people. There are people that are watching today that are having terrible problems. We watch these people and we try to guide, but sometimes it is necessary for you to continue the test so that you can act as a true inspiration. We know that Linda watches the show. She has terrible problems, but she continues to be an inspiration. Now, nobody knows her. You all recognize the first names, but there are wonderful people. You see, Barry does reach some people, and they pay attention and they do what they feel is correct. Human lives are the most difficult. From the day you are born, you must learn. You see, you come into this world knowing nothing, and that's God's plan. You have to learn. Your parents have to influence you to show you what is right in the beginning. Now, you'll have guides. We'll try to help you. Many children are abused by their parents. Terrible, terrible thing. They'll pay that karma, but the effect on those children can be lifelong. Many people overcome bad parenting. They shouldn't have to do that. There should be no such thing as bad parenting, but there is. Many children are born in great poverty. That shouldn't be, but it is. Many children overcome that poverty through a drive to learn and to advance. What is important today is that all children are given the opportunity for a great education. Education and learning is what will pull children and people out of poverty. If a person doesn't know how to hold a job, how to have a skill, then they remain in poverty. Many people are suffering from mental illness. That is a result of a lot of what is going on in your world. Poverty, high inflation, wars, politicians that could care less. This is all creating problems today. Many people have trouble coping. What you need to do is try to lead these individuals. Individuals do not want to be unhappy. They do not want to be depressed. They do not want to have to worry about where the next meal for their children is coming. They do not want to worry about whether their children will be able to advance in this rapidly changing economy that you now live in. The children are the key. If the young children are taught that by following God, they will succeed and they will find happiness. Then those children have a chance. If the father conceives the child and abandons the mother, the poor mother is so limited in what she can do. She will have to work multiple jobs just to feed the children or the child. The child will pretty much be left on his own. And as a result, will conceivably turn to peers that will mislead him. Because those children that he turns to will probably have been abused, abandoned, and they turn to people that led them to drugs and violence. It is a vicious circle that can only be changed through parents that love and guide their children. Today, you're seeing people turn against the police. These people are driving those children towards violence and then don't want the police to intervene and save individuals that are very innocent and honest and just trying to make their way in life. Your peacemakers are critical. Sadly, in this world, there's so much violence that your military is critical because they're the ones that will protect the innocent. Throughout time, there have been different types of governments: communism, socialism, Marxism, all the isms. Isms are failures. Now, capitalism has a chance, but it can be abused as well, and it can be a failure. There's nothing saying the United States has to succeed. If your government continues to follow the path that you're on, you're not going to succeed. Maybe you don't want to hear that this morning, but you cannot spend more than you receive. Great debt has to be paid back by future generations. You even have a great debt being held by your enemies. China. They hold much debt of the United States, and they're definitely your enemy. Why do you think they bought that debt? They want to help bury you. And your politicians have been too stupid to understand it. It is time for a change. It is time for a great change. It is time for people to understand and follow the words of God. That is the change that is required. It's that simple. You're told this 3-4 times a week, if not more. Until people live by God's words, there's little choice. You'll fail. Everyone else has. Study history. Tell me a civilization that has gone against the teachings of God and is still in existence. Your democracies today have a chance, but you're drawing away from God. As you draw away from God, the opportunities are leaving and your chance of failure is increasing. Start today to help others. Lay that small foundation. You're not going to change the world by yourself, but you can lay a foundation of love, foundation of faith. So I thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come through today. I tried to speak frankly. I hope you understood what I was telling you because it is the truth. It is the truth that God has sent us back to speak of. God blesses all of you that are trying to follow his words. He knows you have problems doing it, and he forgives you. But keep trying. Persistence. Don't give up. People have had terrible illnesses and have tried to lead others until the day they die. Remember that. So goodbye. Thank you so much for listening. I know that Barry will have another message for you next week. I know that St. Francis of Assisi is going to speak with you. So goodbye. Thank you for listening. Okay. No one can say he doesn't speak direct. Thank you all. Tell your friends. It's really, the words that I bring to you are not mine. I have no idea what I'm going to say when I sit down. People that have watched me do this are amazed. So think of God, think of his words, think of what you can do to the children, think of what you can do to your neighbors. Think of what you can do to find true happiness. We'll be back again next week. Thank you for listening.